Hi, and a very warm welcome, everyone, to this webinar about healthy Christmas cheer for a happy new year. So in this webinar, we're going to look into why it is important to make time for yourself, especially this time of year, which simple changes to what and when you eat can help you keep your energy levels, mood, emotions, and also weight more stable, how best to prepare yourself for eating out and staying over with family and friends, how to avoid overeating and tummy troubles so that you're not missing out on the fun, and why a good night's sleep is the answer to a wonderful time and how to go about it. So this time of year is all about getting the balance right between some festive fun and New Year's glum. Before I jump into today's topic, I will briefly introduce myself. So who am I? I'm a functional nutritionist. I'm a part of Longley's team of nutritionists who support you as a Stonewater customer and staff member with your physical well-being. I'm also a yoga therapist, so some of my tips come from yoga, and I'm an Ayurvedic health coach. Now, Ayurveda is the ancient healing system of India, which goes back about 5,000 years, and it has a true treasure trove of simple things that we can do to improve our health or maintain our health. So this season is very stressful, right? And overwhelming. So there's a lot of things going on. There's an abundance of food around. It's very easy to just keep grazing the whole day. There's also more opportunity to drink alcohol, especially fizzy drinks. We usually get a little bit less quality sleep, maybe because of all the worries about whether we are going to get things done on time, or, because of all our commitments and meeting with friends, family, and so on. And also there's a high chance of indigestion because of all the overeating and grazing that's going on, and eating out more. And did I mention it? Staying over with family and friends over Christmas and New Year. So, and all these factors contribute to actually making our daily routine go out of the window. So, as I mentioned before, it is all about getting the balance right between depriving ourselves and overindulging. And I'm not advocating that you go on a diet at any moment in time. I'm very much against dieting. It's all about eating the right food for your health. Okay, so the thing is, we need to plan ahead in order to stay on track with our, looking after our general physical well-being. And the one thing that can help you is to manage your expectations, and maybe also your fear of missing out when you don't have this or that from a party buffet. So get clear on what you want for the holiday season. And if you have a notebook and pen ready, just complete these sentences. The things I love most about Christmas are: when I look back on this Christmas, I want to feel. The things I normally do over Christmas that don't work for me are. So once you've completed this, put it down in writing, and we program ourselves better when we put things on a piece of paper. Then you're much clearer. Your idea of what you want out of this Christmas season is so much clearer, and you will be able to stick to your goals. You can set some very simple goals, like I just want to maintain my weight, or just not gain more than 1 kilo. So just be clear on what would be a wonderful Christmas for you. And plan some time for self-care. That's really important. And as you can see, self-care is never selfish, and it can be all sorts of things. Just getting more sleep, meditating, but that's not for everybody. Going out into nature, just looking at the sun, exercising, but it doesn't have to be exercise. It can just be moving about, can be dancing on the spot. Laughing is a good way of looking after yourself, and also playing games. So Christmas is a wonderful time to play games, and playing games with family and friends is very relaxing, and it's fun, right? So part of the Christmas cheer. In order to be able to manage all this stress and overwhelm, it's a very good thing to start. Just be aware of your bedtime routine. Have you got any sleep issues already? Maybe you had them before and Christmas is just making everything worse. And here are a lot of tips that I found help me have a better night's sleep. It's all about trial and error. What works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. And sometimes one tip doesn't work, so you just go to the next one and the next. And it's a very good idea to create a bedtime ritual, because our body just loves routine. And so eating no later than 7 p.m. whenever you can is a good idea, and keep the dinner light. Of course, Christmas dinner is not going to be early, probably, in most families, or you don't have control over it, then just go with the flow. And I'll give you some more tips later on. Reduce your daily coffee intake can help, and have a warm almond drink with nutmeg, cinnamon and turmeric just before bed, to help you get that really nice sleep. So good nutrition is also part of good self-care. But what is good nutrition? That's the big thing, isn't it? There are so many nutrition gurus out there. Basically, what you need to remember is every meal should have a lot of fiber in it, some protein, and some beneficial oils. And you can find fiber in vegetables, in fruit, in beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, but also, of course, in meat and in fish. And so it's having all this variety that helps. And why is fiber so important? Because it speeds up our metabolism, so we don't get constipated, because that's really an issue over Christmas and New Year. I had, before I changed my diet, or way of eating, as I would rather call it, I had lots of Christmases with constipation. So when we are constipated, we build up waste in our digestive system, and that's, some of this waste is then reabsorbed into the body. We don't want waste to be reabsorbed. So we want to get rid of it, and fiber helps with this. Fiber also slows down the release of sugar. Going to look at that in a minute, why that's important, and it makes us feel full for longer. So we don't have all these cravings for example, sweet things, and that can also prevent us from overeating. And it also feeds our beneficial gut bacteria. I don't know whether you've ever heard of the trillions of microbes that live in our gut. So there's always harmful ones, which we can't fully eliminate, and there's beneficial ones, and the beneficial ones keep the balance in the gut. So we want to feed the good ones, the good guys, and they love fiber and they thrive on fiber. And the bad ones, the baddies, that thrive on sugar. So that's a good reason for maybe not overindulging too much in cakes and biscuits, and keep it to a minimum. Just have a plan of how much you're going to snack over Christmas and New Year. So I mentioned blood sugar before. So fiber slows down the release of sugar. Now, there is food that can cause a blood sugar roller coaster, and that's white bread, pizza, everything made with refined products like refined flour, refined sugar. Anything basically that doesn't contain a lot of fiber. Also breakfast cereal. You will be surprised at how little fiber there is in breakfast cereal, but how much sugar. So just read the ingredients list. It may not mention sugar, it may say something about glucose syrup or something like that, or no, probably not maltodextrin, but some syrup, and maybe some honey, but it won't be the raw honey that I always recommend. It will be adulterated honey with sugar. So just be aware of what you eat can send you on this roller coaster, which actually makes you even more stressed, anxious, can cause mood swings, can make you irritated and hungry. So you get all these sugar cravings and energy crashes. And sometimes, if it's very severe and has been going on for a long time, it can also cause depression. And the food that contains a lot of fiber, like avocado, beans, lentils, and so on, stabilizes these blood sugar levels. And you can see the purple line, that's how our blood sugar levels should be most of the time. They should only go slightly up after a meal and then going down again, instead of rising rapidly and then coming crashing down on us. And you can already feel the effect of this, right? So what can we do to get more fiber into our meals, also over Christmas? Think color. Anything, make your Christmas dinner as colorful as possible. There's even, purple colored carrots around nowadays, purple colored tender stem broccoli, or the cavallo nero. It's a special type of kale. So then you would already have the purple color, right? And I think tender stem broccoli with your Christmas dinner is quite nice with some turkey or fish or whatever you're going to eat. Also think about the days in between the Christmas dinner and New Year. So you're not going to have a feast every single day. So a stir fry is very, quickly done. It's very nourishing. You can use any leftovers from Christmas, for example. Leftovers are great to make a very nutritious and tasty stir fry. Think about even an omelette. You can make a rainbow omelette, when you're not very hungry. You don't need to have a big meal. And even hummus can be made, like in different colors. By adding a carrot or avocado, you make it green, carrot orange, beetroot, you make it a bit more reddish. So be creative and inventive with food. And then you can also make some simple food swaps to get more fiber into your meals. So the one thing I would heartily recommend is to try and reduce the amount of wheat you're having. A lot of people have got something with wheat in it, like for every single meal, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And wheat is very difficult to digest. It's very heavy, and it can cause indigestion, constipation, a slow metabolism if we don't digest it well. And most of us have problems with it. So just think about how you're feeling now, and about how you could reduce having too much wheat, which means having less bread, having less pasta maybe, or having a different sort of pasta, because there's all sorts of alternative pastas around nowadays. There's spelt, which is much more easily digested, doesn't cause so many digestive issues. And then there's buckwheat, and there's corn and lentil pasta. It may cost a little bit more, but if you can see, like the blood sugar roller coaster that makes you crave something and eat something all the time, if you can, get more fiber into your meals and you can keep your blood sugar levels more stable, you can also reduce your food bill that way. So just think about it, and also you're improving your health. And I think a tiny bit of investment in our health goes a long way in making us feel more energetic, less moody, and emotionally balanced, and also feel good about our body, having less weight to carry around. And also think about flour. There's so many different types of flour. Wheat flour is only one of them. There's buckwheat flour again, and you could even use ground almonds. And cow's milk you can easily replace with almond milk, which is rich in magnesium. It's very good for our health. It relaxes us. It's important for more than 300 processes in the body. So, and cow's milk is again very difficult to digest for a lot of people. Cheeses. Think about replacing cheese, because cheese is also one of them that can upset our blood sugar levels, our mood, make us eat more and more. It's a typical comfort food. Think about blending some cashews instead of having bechamel sauce with cheese. Have a blended cashew nut sauce. And also nutritional yeast, if you're vegan, is rich in vitamin B12 and would be a really good supplementation to your vegan diet. I don't know how many of you are vegans, but think about your vitamin B12 intake. Potatoes, you can easily swap the white potatoes for sweet potatoes. I've had less trouble with keeping my weight stable ever since I stopped eating white potatoes and only have sweet potatoes. You can make lovely roast sweet potatoes with some oregano, some thyme, and even some cinnamon. That would be have a sweet taste. So really a good one for countering sweet cravings. And mash, you can make mash with anything that is a root, a vegetable, like sweet potato, cauliflower, broccoli, celeriac. Think outside the box, and you can even mix and match them. Yeah, so you could make a cauliflower and broccoli mash, or you could make a sweet potato, cauliflower, and broccoli mash, and you would have 3 vegetables in one. So for kids, it would be colorful. And it would be tasty, and you would get 3 vegetables in for them. And the one major swap you can make that would benefit you is to just steer away from processed sugars in any shape and form. There's about 36 or even more different sugars that manufacturers use in food, and go for raw honey, which is just pure honey. If you can't find it in the supermarket, maybe difficult, but Morrison's has it in the free-from aisle. Then have a look whether you can find a local beekeeper and ask them whether they just put the honey from the beehive straight in a jar. And that's the honey I mean. It's unadulterated, it's not mixed with sugar, and it's so beneficial. And our good guys in the gut, they love this honey and they thrive on it, and it's not causing any health issues to have honey. And dates are rich in fiber and also in minerals and vitamins, and just having one date as a snack just satisfies all your sweet cravings. It's so heavy and so sweet. And you can also use maple syrup because, again, it's unprocessed sugar with all the minerals and vitamins still there. And think about healthy cooking oils. Coconut oil is a very good one. It has a very high saturation point, smoke point, so it's safe to cook and fry with it. Olive oil as well. Don't use refined oils that come in a plastic and transparent bottle. Those oils are very poor quality. They're also like very, they're already ruined oils actually, because oils have to be kept away from light, and plastic, from the bottle actually leaches into the oil. So you're having oil with plastic particles. So you don't want that for your health. That's very unbalancing, especially for our female hormones. So just stay away from all these cheap and nasty oils that are very cheap, but they cost us a lot in terms of our health. And margarine is not very healthy. It's just one molecule away from plastic. So go for butter. Our body loves everything that is natural. And butter is, again, it has butyrate in it, and the good guys in our gut, they thrive on this butyrate. It's a short chain fatty acid, if you want to know, and they just love it. So again, by eating butter or ghee, which is clarified butter, you're helping your beneficial guys in the gut. So what can also help with our blood sugar levels, and therefore with our mood, emotions, energy, and weight, for example, or also our mental focus, is also thinking about at what time each day we are having our meals, right? Even over the holidays, because it's not Christmas and New Year every day, as I mentioned before. So just think about having your breakfast by 9 o'clock, more or less, like there's always exceptions to the rule. Probably on Christmas Day or Boxing Day, you are going to have breakfast later. That's fine. These are just ideal times to tell you, when our body would love to have something, but if you can't stick to it, that's also, like exceptions to the rule is fine. Have lunch between 12 and 2 if you can. 3 o'clock if, you can't. Stick to that time, and then dinner by 7 o'clock. Late night dinners should be really the exception rather than the rule. And keep dinners light, as I already said. And of course, it's not easy to stick to these guidelines. To 3 regular meals a day at about the same time each day, which would be very good for our body, because our body loves routine. And it just thrives on routine, and it will also help with our digestion to eat at regular times every day. But if we don't have a plan, it's not going to work, right? So we need to have the right food in to be able to stick to this regular meal routine. And so here I've got a short video with some food planning and prepping ideas for you. I hope you enjoy it. So I hope this has given you a good idea of what you can do to help you with the food planning over the holidays. And also, you know what you can do with some leftovers. Fish cakes are brilliant and have a lot of fiber and so easy to make and gorgeous. So again, be creative and inventive with any leftovers, and think of reviving your vegetables. You know, when they go limp in the fridge, oftentimes we can put them in a bowl of water and revive them, and they will be as fresh as before, because it's just the water that has evaporated from spinach or rocket or pak choy or whatever you have in your fridge as in terms of green vegetables. So to start a good daily meal routine, it's always good to start with having a good warm breakfast, because a good warm breakfast sets us up for the day, and it can be very easy and very quick and very nourishing by just making ourselves a warm smoothie. So I don't recommend cold smoothies, because as soon as the cold food hits the stomach, you can feel it, right? And this causes a shock to the system and causes blood to leave the stomach, and all the blood flow to the stomach is constricted by cold food and drinks as well. So we want a lot of blood in our stomach, because we need lots of blood to be able to digest our food well. So think about this whenever you have something cold, and avoid having cold drinks before food, but I'll get back to that in a minute. So always have a good warm breakfast. Think about making yourself a good smoothie, but be aware that it needs to have a lot of fiber in it as well to keep your blood sugar levels stable. So only having fruit smoothies is going to send your blood sugar up and down. Sugar without fiber is destabilizing. So think about adding some seeds and some nuts, and that way you will always also have some beneficial oils in your smoothie, because nuts and seeds contain beneficial oils. And ginger. I'll come back to ginger as well, why it's so beneficial. Right, think about that, or have a porridge, but I'm not a porridge person. It doesn't keep me full until lunchtime. So, and then also plan ahead when you're staying over or traveling. How can you make it easy for yourself to stick to 3 daily meals as much and whenever as possible? So have a look at what your hosts have for breakfast. If they have eggs at home, that's fine. You can have eggs for breakfast, poached egg or scrambled egg with something in it, like some green vegetables. If you have some smoked salmon, there's all sorts of healthy ways to make an omelette with some sheep's cheese or feta cheese. You can hear I'm not recommending cow's cheese for obvious reasons, because that's really difficult to digest. And if you don't feel like having breakfast, have a cup of fresh ginger tea instead, because ginger revs up our digestive system and our appetite, and we will then be really hungry for lunchtime, when we should be hungry, because lunch, between 12 and 2, our digestive system is at its best. So that's when we can have the more difficult to digest food, like red meat, even cow's milk, cheeses, if you like, and wheat. Have it before 5 o'clock, all these very heavy and difficult to digest foods. Also think about lunch. I have a lot of friends who don't bother about lunch, and I know for myself that I need to have lunch, because otherwise I get irritated and even a bit anxious. I can feel that I'm not balanced anymore. So I also get easily frustrated then with people, and I don't want to be like that. So I always make sure I can rustle up a quick lunch wherever I am. So think ahead and bring some tinned beans and lentils with you, and some vegetables, because you don't want to eat the vegetables your hosts have bought for some other dinner or meal. So be as independent as you can. And the stir fry, it is always, it only takes 10 minutes to rustle up a good stir fry, and put some tinned lentils in it, and maybe some tamari, which is a good soya sauce without sugar. And it's very tasty and nourishing. And I found out about this, mix when I was staying over in the Netherlands with a friend who didn't bother about lunch. And I was really hungry by 3 o'clock. I thought, I need something. I can't live without any food until 6 o'clock when she's ready to have something. So that's when I rustled up the stir fry with some tinned beans and tamari. And that's how I found out it's absolutely delicious. Right. How can we avoid overeating and indigestion? Not just thinking about what we eat and when we eat, but we can also help ourselves by having some deep breaths before a meal. And when you have never done it before, you can do it with me if you like, but just closing your eyes, putting your hands on your tummy, and then just observe your breath. Where is it coming from? Are you breathing from the chest, or are you breathing from your tummy? And then slowly on the next inhale, you're going to breathe deep into your tummy and move it outwards, away. Your hands should be moving out, away from your body. And then on the exhale, you pull the tummy muscles towards the back of your spine, slowly and gradually, but also forcefully. Just make sure you do this and you get rid of all the old air in the lower lobes of your lungs, which are never cleared out of this, all the waste that accumulates in our lungs. So this helps with lung health as well. On the next inhale, we are going to blow up our tummy again like a big balloon. Deep breath into the tummy. And on the exhale, we are making our tummy again as flat as possible. And gently open your eyes again, and just 3 deep breaths are all we need to make our digestion work better, to calm ourselves, to feel less stressed, and that will improve our digestion and prevent indigestion. You can do this before a meal and ideally also after a meal to just help the stomach to process the food. Give it some time to churn the food until it's ready to, move along the digestive system, and then you can jump up again and do whatever you like. But just give the stomach a bit of time, 10 to 15 minutes to do its job properly. And chewing well is also helpful to avoid overeating, because it takes some time for the brain to, for the hormones to signal to the brain that the stomach is actually getting full and that it's time to stop eating. And savor your food, savor the colors, savor the aromas. Be more mindful about what you're putting in your mouth and how it makes you feel. And go for quality instead of quantity. Right? Have your 3 major meals a day, and then that will reduce the need for snacking and comfort eating, because the fiber in every meal is going to be nourishing, satisfying, and therefore also comforting. Check, are you feeling full? And always leave half an hour before any dessert. Desserts usually contain fruit, and fruit is always digested first and will otherwise impact the digestion of your main meal. Spice things up. Use ginger in everything you cook or drink. It's fantastic for our digestive system. It's fantastic for our appetite. It keeps us healthy. It's a wonderful spice, and you can add it to anything, to a stir fry, to stew, to a risotto, you name it. You can put ginger in it. And the other thing I would recommend, if you have any feeling of heaviness in your stomach after a meal, just take a handful of fennel seeds, put them in your mouth, and chew them well, swallow them through, and within a minute you will feel that the food is moving along nicely again. So just to prevent acid reflux, for example, or gas and bloating, fennel seeds are great as well. And put other spices in your food: fennel seeds, cumin seeds, nigella seeds. Mediterranean herbs and spices in a risotto are great. Turmeric is always good. Garlic, of course, is a wonder food. So think about how you can incorporate more herbs and spices into your meals. And that will also help with cravings, by the way. The more herbs and spices we use, the less cravings we will have. And be mindful when you're snacking, when you find that you're snacking a lot. What are you actually eating? What emotion could be behind your wanting to satisfy a need with food? Because food is the first thing we usually grab when we are dealing with some emotional stuff. When we become more mindful, before we put the food into our mouth and think, why am I actually wanting to eat this right now? Then we can find out that maybe it's comfort that we're seeking, or that we're so stressed that we're trying to calm our nerves through food, or that we're very anxious. So think about it, and maybe keep a journal if you find that you're snacking and grazing a lot. So then the other tip I have is, before you put it in your mouth, distract yourself. Go for a walk for 7 to 8 minutes. Distract yourself, or have a bath, a foot bath, or start reading something. Put on some music. Start dancing to the music. There's all sorts of things we can do rather than putting food into our mouths to satisfy our needs, whatever they are. And have a healthy snack like chocolate avocado truffles. If you really need something, have it ready, have a batch ready. You can contact us on our Facebook page. I'll put the recipe up there so that you can find it. So the Facebook page, is from HealthWorks, Community HealthWorks. And have some ready in the fridge and freezer. But whenever you have a sweet craving, these are absolutely delicious. It's a wonderful and very healthy snack. And then drink wisely. I've already mentioned limiting your caffeine intake as much as possible. I know it's difficult. I'm a coffee addict myself. But I know why, because there's a reason behind bitter cravings. But just try to minimize it. Reduce the amount you drink to 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day, and really savor having this coffee, because most of the time we just clock it down and don't really enjoy the taste. So sit with it, savor it, and and you can also reduce the spike that caffeine produces in our body by putting some coconut oil in it, or some cardamom on top. Then drink warm fluids mainly. I have a new client with she drinks, I don't know how many liters a day. So we're trying to reduce her water intake, which is definitely over drinking, but she's also drinking ice cold drinks all the time. And that's not good for your health. So you're really making your digestive strength very weak by drinking a lot and drinking a lot of cold drinks, and especially around meals. Stop drinking half an hour before a meal and start drinking again maybe half an hour or an hour after a meal. But keep it warm. Avoid sugary drinks like all these fizzy drinks, Coca-Cola, whatever, lemonade. And they feed the bad guys in the gut, and you don't want to, nourish them and make them thrive. The same goes for any drinks with artificial sweeteners. They are detrimental to our good guys. Avoid fizzy drinks when you already have gas and bloating going on, because it will just make the gas and bloating worse, because fizzy drinks contain gas as well. And make wise alcohol choices over Christmas and New Year. Plan ahead again. How much are you going to drink? When are you going to drink? When are you not going to drink? Don't feel like the odd man out when you're not drinking. There's also the non-alcoholic festive drinks. This is a mulled wine recipe that I recommend because it has a lot of fresh ingredients. Like the Merlot has less sugar content than other red wines. So go for good quality again. Make this mulled spice wine with some Merlot, some fresh oranges, some fresh lemon juice, and some fresh herbs and spices with cinnamon, cardamom, fresh ginger, of course. And it's delicious and it's special and it's festive. So I had this the other day with a friend who came round and he loved it. So it doesn't have to be unhealthy, alcohol and limited amounts can also be medicinal. And this drink can actually help with our digestive strength. It relaxes us so that we can digest our food better and calms our nerves, and it also helps with moving bile along. So if you have any gallbladder issues after eating heavy meals with lots of fat, that can help. And you can also make it non-alcoholic by making it with pomegranate juice instead of with Merlot or cranberry juice. And move. Don't forget to move. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just get up from watching television once in a while and just move about when you're sitting too much. Go out for a 10-minute walk and look at the sun. You're not going to get any vitamin D from the sun at this time of the year, mind you, but it can still help with our mood because moving also stabilizes our blood sugar levels and helps with indigestion, with constipation, with our immune system, keeping it strong. So think about ways you can move indoors, like having a hula hoop or, just walking up and down the stairs. If you're not a yoga type of person. Yoga is, of course, beneficial at every time of the year. So this was it from me today. I hope I've given you a lot of practical tips of how you can keep the balance over Christmas and New Year, over the holidays. Enjoy the food that you are eating. Really go for it if you're having a sweet tooth and you put a cake in your mouth. Enjoy it. If you can't, if you want to have it, go for it. Don't feel guilty. But be aware of how you feel after you've eaten the cake. So we hope that this is going to help you make a good start into the new year and feel so much better and not feel weighed down by everything you've been indulging in over the holidays. So if you want to get in touch with us, we have a Facebook page. You can find it by typing in Community Healthworks on Facebook. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare a slide with the link. And like it, follow us on Facebook, and there's also a contact button. When you click on the Contact Us button, you can see a form with full questions. So if you have any issues, health issues, you can get in touch with us and we'll call you back or email you back for a 20-minute chat so that we can find out what kind level of support you would need going forward to help with your physical well-being. So this was it for me today. A Merry Christmas and a good and happy New Year to everybody. Bye.